God doesn't insist forever. Apply these habits that will make 2026 the best year of your life. Let me ask you a direct question, without beating around the bush. What if the biggest mistake of your life wasn't what you did, but what you postponed? Most people believe that God will always insist, warn again, give another sign, another clear and comfortable chance. But here's the uncomfortable truth. There comes a moment when silence isn't absence. It's an answer, not because God has given up on you, but because He expects you to finally take the wheel of your own life. Perhaps 2025 was just another one of those years when you promised yourself you would change next year. Maybe you even prayed, asked for guidance, asked for strength, but you kept repeating the same habits, the same choices, and the same excuses. And here's the paradox. You want a different life without becoming a different person. It doesn't work that way. Transformation doesn't begin on the calendar. It begins with behavior. And that's liberating and terrifying at the same time. What you're about to hear isn't cheap motivation or a pretty phrase to post. It's a call to mature responsibility. Simple but powerful habits that, when applied correctly, will make 2026 more than just another year, but the turning point in your story. It's not about doing everything, it's about doing what's essential. And if you stay until the end, you'll realize that perhaps God has already done His part and is now waiting for yours. The moment when God stops insisting and the responsibility shifts. There comes a point in life when the signs have already been given. The opportunities have passed before your eyes, and that strange feeling in your chest is no longer doubt. It's awareness. God speaks, guides, nudges, closes doors and opens others. But here's the thing. He doesn't force anyone. And when you ignore too much, silence begins. It's not abandonment, it's required maturity. Life enters serious mode like, now it's up to you. And many people confuse this with bad luck or a bad phase. Perhaps you've felt this without being able to explain it. The year changes, the calendar turns, but inside everything seems the same. Same job, same problems, same excuses. And it's not a lack of faith, it's excessive procrastination. God doesn't insist forever because eternal insistence creates dependence, not growth. There comes a time when heaven silently observes to see if you will move. It's uncomfortable, I know, but it's also liberating, because it returns control to your hands. 2026 fits perfectly into this scenario. Not as a magical year, but as a test of your attitude. You can continue waiting to feel the desire, total clarity, or perfect motivation. Spoiler alert, that day never comes. Or you can act even with fear, even without certainty, even trembling a little. Small daily habits begin here, in this almost invisible internal shift. And when you understand this, something changes in the air. Because the next stage is no longer about signs, it's about decisions. The invisible decision that separates those who change from those who repeat the year. There's an invisible line that separates two types of people when a new year begins. On one side, those who wait for something to happen. On the other, those who decide to make it happen. The difference isn't talent, luck, or intelligence. It's a choice, plain and simple. Most people think change starts with motivation, but that's just nice talk to postpone action. The real turning point begins when you decide, even without feeling anything special, like someone who gets out of bed on a cold day because they know they need to get up. This decision is almost never announced. It doesn't become a post. It doesn't receive applause. It happens in an ordinary moment, perhaps now, while you listen to this. It's when you stop negotiating with yourself. It's no longer, I'll start on Monday. It's, I'll start today, however I can. People who change their lives aren't more confident at the beginning. They're just tired of disappointing themselves. And that hits different, because the pain of remaining the same starts to hurt more than the fear of change. 2026 won't ask if you're ready. It will only respond to your attitude. Those who decide early create a silent advantage while the rest are still thinking. A clear decision eliminates 1,000 doubts, saves energy, and creates direction. It's like adjusting the steering wheel before the turn, not after. And when that decision takes hold, the question that changes everything naturally arises. If I've decided to change, what exactly will I rely on every day to avoid going back? Daily discipline, the habit that creates identity. Many people still believe that discipline is something for cold, rigid, or unemotional people. Nothing could be further from the truth. Discipline is self-care at an advanced level. It's you doing today what your future self will thank you for tomorrow. Motivation is unstable. It comes and goes, now and then. Discipline remains. It's what sustains you when enthusiasm fades, when the day weighs heavily, and when no one is watching. Identity isn't born from grand promises. It's born from small commitments fulfilled. When you train even when you don't feel like it, read even when you're tired, or wake up at the time you've agreed with yourself, something silent happens inside. You begin to trust yourself, and that trust changes everything. It's not about becoming a different person overnight. It's about voting every day for the identity you want to build in 2026. Start small, for real. 10 minutes of reading a day is already more than zero. A simple example. Books like Think and Grow Richer. The Richest Man in Babylon reading consistently teaches more than watching 1,000 videos without action. Discipline creates rhythm, rhythm creates consistency, and consistency creates results. And when that rhythm is established, you realize you need to protect something essential to avoid losing everything. Your attention. Focus and silence. Why winners make less noise. There's a secret advantage that almost no one realizes. Those who learn to be silent advance faster. It's not silence born of fear, it's silence born of strategy. While many people talk too much, explain too much, and promise too much, those who succeed are too busy doing. The modern world thrives on noise, notifications, opinions, and false urgencies. And if you don't learn to protect your focus, you end up wasting energy on everything. Accept what truly changes your life. Focus isn't a talent, it's a daily choice. It's consciously deciding where your attention will reside. When you wake up and immediately dive into your phone, you let the day drive you. When you start the day by choosing a single important task, you take the wheel. Try this. Set aside 60 minutes a day without your phone, without interruptions, just you and what most impacts your future. It seems simple, but it's rare, and that's exactly why it works. Silence creates clarity. Clarity creates power. When you reduce external noise, you begin to better hear your own decisions, your limits, and your responsibilities. It is in this space that habits are strengthened and distractions lose power. And when focus becomes routine, something interesting happens. You begin to realize what is draining you without any return. And that's when the next step becomes inevitable. Cut out distractions and modern vices that drain your destiny. There are things that don't seem dangerous, but they're draining your energy every single day. Modern distractions come disguised as rest, as rewards, as just a little more. Unlimited social media, endless videos, impulsive consumption, constant complaining. Nothing comes for free. All of this exacts an invisible price: focus, time, and mental clarity. And when you realize it, the day is over and what really mattered has been postponed. Again. A simple test reveals more than 1,000 reflections. Try going 30 days without what you say you control. If you can't, there's your answer. It's not about morality. It's about control. Who controls whom? You, the habit, or the habit, you? Start by choosing just one thing to cut out or drastically reduce. It could be limiting social media to fixed times or stopping consuming content that leads you nowhere. Small move, big shift. When you cut out what drains you, you free up energy to build. And that changes the game quickly. Your mind becomes clearer, your body responds better, and decisions become easier. It's no coincidence that productive people seem to have more time. They just don't waste what they have. And as you regain that control, you start to encounter an even more subtle enemy, the one that hides behind the phrase, "It's not good enough yet." Imperfect action. Why waiting to be ready is the fatal mistake. There's an elegant trap that catches intelligent, hardworking people full of potential. Waiting for the ideal moment. You've heard that voice before. When I learn more. When I have more time. When I'm more prepared. Sounds reasonable, right? But this logic never delivers change, it only postpones it. The truth is simple and uncomfortable. Clarity comes after action, not before it. Everyone who builds something meaningful starts poorly, starts small, and starts with fear. The difference is that some didn't stop. Imperfect action creates feedback, creates learning, and creates movement. Expecting perfection creates paralysis. A practical example: if you want to change your financial life, don't wait to understand everything about investing. Start by organizing your expenses, reading 10 pages a day, and investing a little. Movement generates confidence, not the opposite. 2006 doesn't reward those who plan beautifully. It rewards those who execute consistently. Better done than perfect, every single time. When you act even when insecure, something powerful happens. Fear loses its authority. And when fear loses ground, there's room to grow faster than you imagined. But growing requires something even harder than acting once. It requires continuity. Consistency over motivation. The real game of winners. Motivation is great when it appears, but it's not reliable. There are days when you wake up feeling motivated, excited, full of energy, and there are days when you wake up tired, with no desire at all. That's life. Those who depend on motivation live in a dangerous emotional roller coaster. Those who succeed understand something simple. Consistency is doing it even when the internal climate doesn't help. It's showing up every day, even if in a smaller version. Consistency may seem boring to those seeking excitement, but it's in consistency that results are hidden. An average workout done every week beats a perfect workout done just once. 10 pages read a day become entire books over the course of a year. Small, repeated habits build a great life. It's not glamour, it's commitment. And the curious thing is that over time, consistency creates motivation, not the other way around. When you keep the basics running smoothly, even on bad days, you start to gain self-respect. You begin to see yourself as someone reliable, and this identity effortlessly changes your choices. Consistency creates stability, and stability allows for real progress. But to sustain this in 2026, one essential thing is missing: a clear direction, something simple that organizes all your decisions. The final choice, the parent habit that will govern all of 2026. After all this, there comes a point when you need to simplify. Many people get lost because they try to change everything at once and end up sustaining nothing. The real turning point happens when you choose one central thing, an axis, a mother habit that organizes all the others. Think of it like this: when the rudder is adjusted, the whole boat changes direction even against the wind. This choice doesn't need to be beautiful or sophisticated. It needs to be clear. It can be discipline, focus, consistency, courage, or responsibility. One word, one decision, one daily commitment. Every time doubt, fatigue, or distraction arises, you return to it and ask, does this bring me closer to or further away from what I chose to be in 2026? This simplicity lightens the mind and accelerates decisions. When you choose a principle and begin to live in alignment with it, habits start to organize themselves. You cut out what doesn't fit, strengthen what supports you, and stop negotiating with yourself. It's not magic, it's consistency. And when that consistency takes hold, something changes in how you view time, choices, and the future itself. From here on, it's no longer about topics, it's about starting. Now let me challenge you with something sincere. Of everything you've heard so far, what will actually come to fruition today? Because knowledge without application doesn't transform, it only entertains. You've already realized that it's not a lack of ability, opportunity, or faith. What has always separated ordinary years from turning points are decisions sustained by simple habits, repeated even when no one is watching. 2026 won't be the best year of your life because you wished for it, prayed for it, or were moved by this video. It will only be different if you decide to act differently. Today, not tomorrow. What habit will you start? What will you cut out? Where will you stop bargaining with yourself? Answer this honestly, because this answer reveals exactly the level of life you are choosing to live. And now I want to know from you, what word will guide your 2026? Discipline, consistency, courage, focus? Write it in the comments. When you declare it, you take a stand. And if this content made sense to you, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and continue walking with me. Here we don't talk about superficial change. Here we build real transformation, from the inside out.